Scott, do we have in the Manas Fuel case an issue of that warrants an FCPA investigation?
Yeah, the answer to that's very simple. Yes. We have evidence already coming to the surface showing that fuel procurement contracts were written by the Department of Defense to an intermediary company that has close ties to the Department of Defense with companies that were controlled by the president of Kyrgyzstan. So we have a whole series of so-called red flags that would normally trigger a FCPA investigation. My testimony today, I went down the list of things involving the contractors, how the procurement relationship occurred, the interest the United States had in getting a concession in the background, and the fact that this money, very substantial sums of money, wound up going into companies controlled by the president's family, as prosecutors in Bishkek are now pointing out. So they've made, the government in Kyrgyzstan has made the accusation very directly that President Bakiyev was bribed through these contracts. And that may sound like an outlandish, wild accusation. It actually cannot be easily dismissed. The trail of money is there, the absence of competitive bidding, everything else. All that shows that we got a difficult case here.
You made an issue in your testimony of the point of arm's length distance between a contractor and the contractee. Why is that important?
Well, the question is whether Red Star and Mina Corp really were independent contractors who did, and of course the Department of Defense did its deal with Red Star and Mina Corp, or whether they're just an extension of the Department of Defense. And I think when we look at all the facts surrounding these companies and their dealings with the DoD, the answer to that's pretty clear cut. There's no arm's length relationship between these companies and the Department of Defense. The companies have no established track record of running a fuel supply business before. Their only client is the Department of Defense. Out of the blue, they walk away with $1 billion in contracts. There's no evidence of any competitive bidding process there. It seems that they were clearly underbid by others, and those bids were just sort of shoved off by the Department of Defense. So all these things, I think, would suggest to any investigator that Red Star and Mina Corp are just vehicles formed to put a layer between the DoD and the people with whom these deals ultimately are done, which in Kyrgyzstan are companies controlled by the president's family.
And this is a key point when you're deciding whether to carry out a prosecution, correct?
Exactly. So, I mean, if you look at traditional analysis done under the FCPA, I mean, if you assumed that this was a commercial operation being done by a private company, this would be pretty close to a slam dunk case for a prosecutor.
Thanks, Scott.